All right, welcome back to another series, another episode of the I Am Guyanese series. My name is Vanya still, and I'm here with the infamous Daniel Haynes, who I have known for a ridiculously
Wow.
long time. I knew you existed probably since like daycare age,
Yeah, I was
but we can claim from prep A.
from prep A.
Yeah, we can claim from prep A. So grade one for Americans are not Guyanese.
Yeah, grade one.
Yeah, grade one. So how are you, Danielle?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good, just been here just working, grinding, you know, teaching, learning. So it's been quite an interesting ride so far. But I feel like I also said a lot, but I didn't say anything really in that, but
You and
let's
I know what you're talking about, yeah. But who is Daniel Haynes?
Oh wow, that's right away. Just
This
wow,
is
not even a
getting
not even a warm up, not even a how was your day?
this is a warm up. Oh my God.
Wow.
Besides doing the large work, being an educator, because I could never.
Wow.
I could never.
Outside of teaching, as you know, I recently published two books. The first one is called Us, a collection of our stories, thoughts, and dreams, which is a social justice anthology that has 75 interviews taken over a period of 2 years since George Floyd's murder in the US back in 2020 during the pandemic. And then my second book is called Reflections, A Journey Within, which is a poetry book which was my therapy after writing and creating and finishing my work with us. And at the same time doing my master's, working full time as an educator. So it's been quite the ride. Quite the
A
ride.
very a busy time, but successful and yeah. And honestly, as long as I've known you, you've always been like just going. Even if it's just like them final exams, you just been going, just and never just in one thing. Like
Mm.
multiple things all at once. Like you didn't know it was to be like you never been called in a lot of things, but never like bad, just like consistent. You know?
I don't even know how to feel about that.
I know it's not bad. It's just like everybody knew Daniel Haynes, but you
Ah,
was a good child.
good shot.
But everybody didn't know Daniel.
Mm.
You know, that's not. But if you can't tell yet, you didn't mention it because like it's duh. You're Guyanese.
Yes, I am. I'm Guyanese. Yeah, I think sometimes I don't even think about in saying I'm Guyanese because it's intrinsic to who I am. So it's like I don't need to well, if someone asks if I'm being interviewed, like if you read any articles about me or any stuff written, you'd see, or even like bios, well, Daniel C. Haynes is a Guyanese author and educator living in New York. So it's like, but yes, I am a Guyanese and I rep my flag and I rep my colors every day. 592 to the world.
Right now, you're repping Wonder colors. You know, black. It's
Mhm. Mhm. You see, it's a good thing that we not in school for somebody to turn to holler, hey, what do you call it that mean? You see? It's a good thing that we
I
not.
was thinking about it too. As I said, the black isn't it endurance or something? Actually, you know what? I figured I
Yeah.
fucking got.
Hey, no, but I think the thing that's funny about it is that we always often say that when you use a Guyanese, there's certain things that you know, right? And
Mhm.
I think what I mean by that. So the other day, I think it was no, would have been yesterday. So I was hanging out with KBN
Okay,
from yeah, so you know KBN.
of
So
course.
we were watching this interview on Joe Rogan's podcast where this adventurer was talking about the Makushi tribe in Guyana based on some visits that he had made to
Hold
Guyana.
up, the Who tribe?
Makushi, the Amerindian tribe. Yeah, the
A one in
Makushi.
nine, really?
Yes, it is. Good. Man, Vania. You see,
I know the four main ones: the Arawaks, the Carib, the Waro, and the Wapishiano.
hmm then
The
there's
other
the, then
five,
remember there's the
I
YY.
remember why.
Then Well, you already did we already add the Makushi?
No.
You see, well now, but now don't let me stop before we embarrass
All right,
myself
I
and
done.
just
I
go
done.
after.
Because I already done. See, this is what
It's
happens
been
when you
some
go interview a teacher.
it's been some years. It's
It's
been
been
some
a long time since social studies in primary school.
wow. See, this well, I'm gonna date myself, so I'm not gonna do the math. I already
All
know the
right,
math, but
I
I'm
know
not
the math. I'm not saying it out loud.
exactly. Well, go ahead.
Oh my
A
gosh.
lot of questions you got for
No, you're good. Well, besides not knowing, well, that's me, that's not you. Where in Guyana did you grow up? Like,
so
which towns or villages would you call home?
so I grew up in a bunch of places from I want to say, well, I grew up when I was from birth to two. I think I was in Campbellville, and then from two to about five or six, maybe seven, I was in Ogle, and then from seven to maybe 11 or 12, I was in Charlestown, and then from Charlestown, I was in Southwell from 12 up until I left Guyana in
Okay.
2017. So yeah, I've a bunch of different places,
Yeah.
spent a bunch of summers with family in different places in Essequibo, and so it's like all over.
And MacDoom, because I feel like
Mm-hmm,
I used to see
mm-hmm,
you in MacDoom.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. My biological mother lived in MacDoom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like the typical thing when people, people say, "Oh, I'm from New York," or "I'm from here," "I'm from there." Guyana's so small that a
Mm-hmm,
lot of times you don't live in like the same house or the same street like your whole life. Most people live in like at least like two different places,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yeah.
And then you got to add like wherever your grandparents were a lot of times, or some auntie as like a third one.
Everybody was always within the same vicinity each other. Sometimes the people living across the road,
hmm
so it just depends.
hmm hmm Um, food is a huge part of Guyana.
Mm-hmm.
A huge part of Guyana, period. If you had to describe Guyana using one dish or like one food, what would that be?
I know the stereotypical answer would be pepper pot, but I say cook up because of how much different things is happening in Guyana and how many different people in Guyana.
hmm
And I feel like when you sit down and you think about the staples and even the community that you have, nothing, yes, pepper pot is lash, and again, I might be controversial, but nothing is beat like a cook up, a hot cook up
Okay.
or a callaloo cook up. And if anybody want argue with me, they could argue with me, but I'm not gonna do this, man. This is me opinion.
To be honest with you, right, I probably should do a tally. It's between pepper pot and cook up. Right now, from memory, it's like a
Mm-hmm.
good balance. I
Mm-hmm.
wonder which one winning.
You
Everyone's
get
like Gabi pepper pot. This other person is Gabi cook up. So when you say cook up, first of
mhm.
all, if it was callaloo cook up, which type of callaloo?
Man, yeah.
I gotta ask.
Any kind, any kind. There's
What?
I love cook up to the extent.
Any? Not
Mhm.
Edo leaf?
Pardon?
Not Edo leaf?
Well, especially Edoli. Come on,
Okay.
come on,
I
come on,
like between the two. Okay. And then
come on.
what type of peas?
What type of piece? Split peas.
Okay. Well,
Split
meat.
peas. Beef, and then you got, of course, add a little bit pork.
Okay. I just asking because papa could be anything.
Mm-hmm.
It could be.
And cook up as well.
You said which cook up?
I said, and cook up as well. What happened?
One pot could have the peas and the callaloo in it though.
True, true.
It could be a one big pot, just boil it in
Mm-hmm.
the backyard. Just
Mm-hmm. And no bush cook.
bush cook is the best. Cut a bun from the bush cook.
Mm.
You know you're going to sleep after.
Yeah.
You know you're going to sleep after.
I know.
All right, so staying with food.
Mhm.
We thinking like, how? First of all, before we go into this food, you don't feel bad for your students that never experienced having like a vendor in the front of the yard, just selling snacks.
I think that the difference in experiences is interesting, and you could walk outside on an afternoon and there's plantain chip,
Hmm.
potato, yam, maybe yam now.
Not yeah. Oh
Just
man, it's not
cassava
Jamaican.
chips, like a bunch of different things, right? And it's
Yeah.
like you could just be there, pilori, egg ball,
That's what
chana,
you want. Just
puri,
or,
sauce,
or if you want your lollipop, you could get your big red or
right there.
right
But I
there.
think that is interesting that they're just staples of culture because for my kids, like one of the things is you walk to the bodega and you get a bacon, egg, and cheese. Like yeah, so certain things you see the differences in what the foods are, but
Yeah.
I don't think they enjoy as rich of an experience as all them smells hitting you
Right.
from all these different spices as well as all these different foods. And of course, there's still the experience of walking around that remain universal of walking into school with your food and somebody saying, "Hey, let get a piece now. Where by there?
Listen,
Let
listen.
get a touch, let get a touch. Just a little bit." Mhm.
Oh,
Those things are universal.
those were the days. So, what were your go-to snacks? Whether it was from the canteen or the auntie on like in front of the yard of the school.
So for me, most of my go-to snacks came from my mom, Debbie. So
Okay.
she used to make snacks. She's a chef and she ran a cafe, well, and a cafeteria too. So like me getting snacks from her, mitai, fudge, Solara, I had everything. So it's very hard for me to pick an absolute favorite
Pick three.
because picked no, I can't pick. All right. I can try. I can try. This is because again, it
If it were
depends on
today, like today, right now, like what you would say you're in the mood for?
a pine slice.
Ooh,
Outside of a pine slice, a Solara,
okay.
and maybe a Chinese cake.
Okay. So you're not like a with sour type of person, like
No, me want right now in today's
so
mood,
right now. Okay.
I feeling for something sweet,
Okay. Okay.
but not too
Fair enough.
sweet.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I get a pine with the, and that's like
Mm-hmm.
even just in those selections, you got like I guess Solara be considered like an African. I don't even
Yeah, but
know.
yeah. What
I
would
don't
you
know.
well, the coconut, I guess what
Like coconut will make it kind of African. I don't know.
I don't know. That's we gotta trace the history of Solara. For
Yeah.
this we gotta do that. Trace the history of Solara.
But then you said the Chinese cake, right? There's definitely Chinese.
Yeah.
Like even there's a diversity on of the snack choices.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Mhm.
Auntie Debbie cooking all the snacks and everything. What was food was also a huge part of our holidays.
Mhm. Mhm.
I think I already know the answer to this. Well, what was your favorite holiday? Favorite Guyanese holiday and why?
So I think I had about two or three that I would say were favorites. I definitely enjoyed Easter cross buns.
Yeah.
Just the smell of cross buns, just the feeling of going to church, being around different people, especially when you're younger, running around in church, flying kite, and a lot of the things that you take for granted now or you miss, or you took for granted then that you miss
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And of course, Christmas, because ain't no Christmas like a Guyanese
And
Christmas.
yeah.
So it's interesting that the second to last time I went to Guyana was for Christmas, and I hadn't experienced a Guyanese Christmas in a while.
Hmm.
And it was good to see that certain things hadn't changed in terms of how it was celebrated. So it's definitely those two holidays that I would say are favorites. And then I'll throw an honorable mention to Mashroom.
Really?
Yes, because the just seeing so much happiness on display. Because if you think about how free and how happy or enjoyable people is feel when you going through MASH, like it's feel like everybody's be smiling a little bit more. The
Yeah.
energy
Yeah.
is be a little bit different, and the interactions between people, not that they're not nice already, but they just feel even nicer.
So let me ask you this with Matt. I agree with you. I feel
Hmm.
like though the events leading up to February 23rd, which
Hmm.
was MASH,
Hmm.
were better than the actual day. Here's why, at least for
Go
me.
ahead. Go ahead.
All the competitions and stuff was like it was amazing. Seeing all the talent, all the things, regardless of you, if you don't agree with the results, you saw talent on display of Guyana.
You did. I agree. That
Children's MASH was always top tier.
always. I
But
agree.
but February 23rd though, maybe it was just my parents. I constantly heard how the quality of MASH going down every year.
But I feel like we said it every year. I feel like
Literally.
every year you just hear, oh my gosh, at look at what happened this year. It
All
was
they're doing is
never
tie-dye
before.
t-shirt and cut-up t-shirt and a short pants.
But then if you think about it, it's the same thing about Emancipation Day as well. That is every year you're going to the park and doing the same thing. I fed up.
So how do we make it better? So for me, I always felt like I was cheated every year
Why?
because I keep hearing it was better before I was born. Like I had a choice of a year I was born.
But that's the thing, isn't it? You would always hear that something better than it was.
Yeah,
I think all that's subjective because young people or the younger generation enjoy things in a different way.
that's true.
So what might have been enjoyable back then is really not the same because
Yeah,
maybe you enjoy like let me say maybe at first you used to enjoy Easter because you used to go out and fly kite. But
yeah.
now you ain't flying kite as much. Easter is more about staying inside with the family.
And dinner. I would say Easter's the one holiday I miss the most being in the US.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if you go out and fly a one kite, it's just you. But
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
Guyana, that Easter one, everybody out, whether you're Christian, Muslim, Hindu, you don't celebrate no God, everybody being out flying a kite. That was just, it's like a community.
And flying kites because of this with the recognition of the significance of flying the kite that
Hmm.
represents Jesus being risen. So it's like
Right,
just a cross-cultural celebration of each
exactly.
angle was is something that's very, very remarkable to see
Yeah.
that coming from Guyana, I think Guyanese we also take for granted how many interactions we have of people who are different but yet still the same. And
Mm-hmm.
that helps you to shape your way in the world when you reach out to people.
Yeah.
Because the one thing is always here, especially living in New York, is hey, I got a Guyanese friend. Or hey, the Guyanese I know them man are real safe. So it's like stuff like that. Or
Yeah,
there's always one Guyanese in the group.
that's true. In New York, yes.
Yeah. Mm,
Yes. It's definitely different other places, but
yeah.
I guess it. I guess it. Um,
Mm,
so speaking of living in outside of Guyana, so for you it's New York, for me it's Maryland.
mm.
Um, do you remember your first time migrating? Like, remember one thing that you did or you said that after you said it, the way the non-Guyanese respond, you're like, oh, that's maybe something only Guyanese do. So my
I mean,
usual like
we could automatically go with chicken curry. Like we could automatically and I not start to know debate to each their
it's
own.
not a debate. It's not a debate.
I've had this
It's not a debate. I don't
I
even.
have never fought as much as I fought in the last 7 years. And I just even in this conversation, me even want nobody take this.
You're not
I
fighting me. You are the same page.
so but also I think how much I walk, like, or how positive I am because some of my Trinidadian friends have been like, yo, the man's a Guyanese because he just very optimistic and he love everybody. And like there's something that is not that it's solely Guyanese, but it's good to see that
Yeah,
market it's a market thing that people know about us. Like, yo,
it's
they're
true.
nice and they're very optimistic.
We're very welcoming, and it's something that everybody says that they are, but it's more of like, no, you aspire to be, and there's no shade. It's just who we are, as in,
But and I think that even within that is that there are not to say that other people aren't like that, but it's just in different ways you see it operates in different times. And I think forced, and I think because of the way we grew up, the way that you see people interacting is that it's more on display and it comes more from an authentic place.
Right.
I think in my own experiences, I've noticed people be welcoming, but not for the right reasons, or
It's always
welcome
a catch.
with the expectation of something. But at least in my case, I know that it's good to see that people tell me that being how I am reminds them of like the Guyanese that they know, who
Mm,
they've always had good experiences with. So
good point.
not that again, anybody better than anybody, because that's not
Yeah, it's not.
I don't
We're not even.
subscribe
It's
to
just.
that.
Yeah, it's like even when you say that, it's like that is something that is common among all Guyanese. But it's some. It's like that's how we behave back home. Like that was just. I mean, yeah. I don't need to know who you are to offer you the last piece of food in my bowl.
Mhm, mhm,
You hungry? I have
mhm,
food. Eat it.
mhm.
No strings. If I never see you again, that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true. Or and I tell people often, I'm like, you could be in a bus and not know anybody and tap the guy that's next to you and be like, yo, I jump into this bus, me got no bus passage. And the man gonna be like, where you going? You tell him and he gonna pay your bus fare for you. And you
and
hear you
get
up
you some
and
for the next bus too.
maybe you see the man 3 months later or 4 months later on the road or in a shop buying a juice, and you end up paying for the man juice because he might pay for
He
your
can't even
bus
remember
here.
you.
And you can't exactly, and you can't remember you. So it's like stuff like that is not part of the experience every day, just on, and it's something that I really miss as well, especially living in a city like New York, where people are nice, not to say that they aren't, but it's also a tough city. And more often people keep to themselves or are so focused on going about their day that
Yeah,
the random acts of kindness don't occur as often as they do back home.
people think you're trying to rob them.
Mhm.
If somebody do something nice to you in New York, you're like,
But it's still a reminder that good people exist, right?
that's true. That is true. Oh my gosh. So let's see. If you had to sum up, what does being Guyanese mean to you? How would you say that? Like, what does being Guyanese mean to Daniel Haynes?
Being Guyanese is means to me, it's just like the core of who I am in the sense of where my roots are.
Mhm.
That you can never go away from your roots and you are only as strong as your roots are. And I'm blessed and I'm very, very thankful that my foundation and my life experiences, the bulk of them were in Guyana, where I could take what I've learned and the experiences that I've had and branch out and be one of our best representatives in everything that I do. And that's what I try to do every day because I think I'm a representation of my country and my country gave me a lot. It shaped me. And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that foundation again. So every day that I step into the wider world around me, I'm always an ambassador and I'm always representing Guyana. So that's how I can sum up what Guyana means to
That was perfect. That was not only is it perfect, but I know it like it's true. It's so true. And it's even just knowing you for a lot of years, like
me.
that's who you are. And outside of being a really great human, like you
Thank
stand
you.
up and you represent Guyana always. I mean, you're just a great representation of everybody that stands behind you.
I
But you
appreciate
wear
that.
the Guyana flag proud and a
All of
lot of times people migrate and they're like, oh yeah, I live in the US now. And not just Guyanese, like people in general, but a lot of
it.
us, it's so beautiful to see that we've moved physically,
Mhm,
but we will never stop being proud of being, Guyanese, regardless of who is in power, regardless of all, forget all of that. At the
mhm,
end of the day, we are Guyanese. And one thing that will unite all of us, regardless if we were born there, born here,
mhm,
is that we're Guyanese to the marrow.
mhm,
So,
mhm, mhm.
Daniel, I appreciate you so much. Thank you
Likewise.
for taking time out of your busy day to spend a few moments with me to talk about being Guyanese, which is something that we're both passionate about,
Hmm.
and we will stay in touch.
Of course. And if you're not passionate about who you are, then what's the point?
Seriously.
Mhm.
Then you just like going to work to pay bills,
True.
you know?
Thank you, Anya. It was great chatting with you and catching up.
Absolutely.